Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. Criticism may not be agreeable, but it is necessary. It fulfills the same function as pain in the human body. It calls attention to an unhealthy state of things. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender. Victory at all costs, victory in spite of all terror, victory however long and hard the road may be, for without victory, there is no survival. If you have an important point to make, don't try to be subtle or clever. Use a pile driver. Hit the point once. Then come back and hit it again. Then hit it a third time, a tremendous whack. We contend that for a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. There are two things that are more difficult than making an after-dinner speech: climbing a wall which is leaning toward you and kissing a girl who is leaning away from you. One ought never to turn one's back on a threatened danger and try to run away from it. If you do that, you will double the danger. But if you meet it promptly and without flinching, you will reduce the danger by half. Never run away from anything. Never. A politician needs the ability to foretell what is going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year. And to have the ability afterwards to explain why it didn't happen. When we look back on all the perils through which we have passed and at the mighty foes that we have laid low and all the dark and deadly designs that we have frustrated, why should we fear for our future? We have come safely through the worst. What kind of people do they think we are? Is it possible they do not realize that we shall never cease to persevere against them until they have been taught a lesson which they and the world will never forget? Want of foresight, unwillingness to act when action would be simple and effective, lack of clear thinking, confusion of counsel until the emergency comes, until self-preservation strikes its jarring gong. These are the features which constitute the endless repetition of history. If the Almighty were to rebuild the world and ask me for advice, I would have English channels round every country. And the atmosphere would be such that anything which attempted to fly would be set on fire. If the Almighty were to rebuild the world and ask me for advice, I would have English channels round every country. And the atmosphere would be such that anything which attempted to fly would be set on fire. I was only the servant of my country, and had I, at any moment, failed to express her unflinching resolve to fight and conquer, I should at once have been rightly cast aside. If the human race wishes to have a prolonged and indefinite period of material prosperity, they have only got to behave in a peaceful and helpful way toward one another. In war as in life, it is often necessary, when some cherished scheme has failed, to take up the best alternative open, and if so, it is folly not to work for it with all your might. The short words are best, and the old words are the best of all. We are asking the nations of Europe, between whom rivers of blood have flowed, to forget the feuds of 1,000 years.